Good morning. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. So, was Maui attacked? Let's talk about that. We're going to talk about that, and specifically the preparedness implications of it. I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions, and probably some of those opinions are right. I'll probably be doing more about this on the American Reversion channel, talking about slave cities, what I call slave cities coming up, and whether Maui has anything to do with that. It'll be interesting to find out. You know, the world we live in is an onion. You got to take off layer after layer after layer after layer, and you still don't know the truth in many cases. But so instead of chasing that rabbit down that hole, let's think about what it really means in preparedness. Before we get started on that, I have a special message for stonemonters. If you ask what stonemonters are, you're not one, but you can be one. Stonemonters are the ones who have read my books, or at least one of them, and in many cases they've read the whole series 5 times through. I always put the links to them down below. But just recently I started reading, because I had people asked me for when it was going to be available on Audible. And so a week or so ago, whenever, I started reading. I decided to do it myself and make it available on the Patreon channel on the Stonemont level. And it has gone very well. I think we're up to, I think later after I do this, I'll be reading chapter 11. So we're going right along. I'm starting with, of course, the first one, the reversion, and I should say that this is all my videos are brought to you by the Stonemont series. The first one is the reversion, the one that started it all back in 2017, and people are liking them. Well, I've gone even a step beyond that for stonemonters especially. It turns out that ever since the books came out, and the first one in 2017, and then the other 5 since then, a lot of people have read this series and really love this series around the world. I've been surprised. It hadn't just been in the United States. Have read the series really without a specific eye on preparedness or SHTF or survival of Tiataki or anything like that. Now, a lot of people do. That's where it all started, because it is a book. It's a series about how, preparing for surviving and rebuilding after a total collapse of everything. But a lot of people have really gotten into it as a story of its own. And of course, we all love survival stories, right? We love, seeing how people overcome obstacles and all that. And I've been fortunate at the success that this series has brought. But I've had so many people over the years who have contacted me with questions about the series itself, having really nothing to do with preparedness. And so I decided, I've been toying with this idea for a little while. I just put up another channel, the Stonemont channel, specifically for stonemonters, for those people who read the books, who have read the books, who read the series, and love the series for itself, not just the preparedness and survival lessons in it. You can just put in Stonemont. I think that's what it is in YouTube. I'll put the link down below. And I'm doing the same thing over, and I've the reason for that, I'm going to be talking about things on that channel that I won't talk about here. On the YouTube channel, I put up a welcome, kind of told everybody what it was about. Is that sun getting in your eyes? Yeah, that sun's coming right there behind us, isn't it? Well, that's all right. Put on your hat and stay out of your eyes. And I'll be talking about things like, what made me write the books, the process of it, what happened during. I know a lot of people are interested in that, how I write the books, where I get the ideas, all those kinds of things. And then, in addition, I've put a corresponding Patreon channel, with it, so that when and on that Patreon channel, I am also uploading all of the audibles, like when I upload to the Integrative Preparedness channel, I will also upload the video to the Stonemont Patreon channel. The thing about, and this isn't, many of you don't have to go over there and join that. I mean, join the Stonemont YouTube channel if you'd like, because I will be talking about, some things that I don't talk about here if you're interested in Stonemont. But many of you, you don't have to join the Patreon page, channel, because I'll be putting the same things up on it, unless you really want to get into Stonemont as the Stonemont community. And one thing that the Patreon channels let me do, of course, is to get messages from people, direct messages from people, and answer questions. I've always loved answering questions and responding to all of my viewers and all of my commenters. Is one of the things that I've really enjoyed over the years since I started this channel. And I can't do it anymore much. Okay, I have a hard time keeping up. So now I focus on the Patreon channel. I get back to those people. I answer either in video or in messages or whatever. And that's where I'm just going to have to, focus my interaction with readers and viewers and things like that. It's just a matter of, time management, to be honest. And really, what I've seen on the Integrative Preparedness Patreon channel, the depth of the communication and the community over on the Patreon channel really far exceeds the YouTube, and I think I'm being suppressed on YouTube. While YouTube is really being held back, the Patreon channel is just exploding. So that shows me the direction that I need to go in. So that's for any of you Stonemonters that would like one more thing to keep track of. I'd put in the Stonemont channel, and over there I'm up to through chapter 10, I think, too. It'll be the same on both Integrative Preparedness and Stonemont. Stonemont will be where you can ask me about, on the Patreon channel, characters, or where I get my ideas, or all sorts of things. And I know that many people outside, some people have already discovered it. I didn't. I was holding off because I was going to make the announcement here. Some people have already discovered it. I couldn't believe when I checked the Patreon channel of Stonemont, and it said somebody joined. I said, well, I haven't even told anybody. So anyway, I'm sorry that you all didn't get the first shot at it. But if you want a little bit extra, if you want to get into the Stonemont world and all that there is now a place for that. Okay. Now, back to, have I ticked off the person that says I waste all the time at the front of it instead of getting to the subject? Well, see, all that was the subject, because it's for my people. It's for the Stonemont people, okay, and other viewers who would like to be Stonemonters. Maui. Was Maui attacked? The first hint that I got that people had that thought was when I got I think it was a comment, several videos ago, and it wasn't about Maui, said, do you think that the Maui fires were started with a laser? Gosh, that sun is right in your eyes, isn't it? Let's see if I can put it over here. Does that make it a little bit better? I'm sorry. Okay, we'll try that. They said, do you think it was started with a laser? Well, I hadn't heard anything about that. And so I said, I don't know. I didn't know anything about it. So just in the last few days, I've been really busy the last week. In the last few days, I've heard more and more information come out about the Maui situation. That's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, it really is unbelievable. This is one of those Chicago fire, San Francisco fire things. And it makes us wonder what the cause of it was. Was it arson? Was it purposeful? Was it accidental? Was it a directed energy weapon, right? Was it lasers? Was it whatever? I mean, the devastation is just unbelievable. I know there will be reasons of why it could have spread that quickly, that fast, and there, we're getting the same idiots talking about global warming and it's been low on rain and it's everything like that. I don't know. I question that. I'll be real honest with you. But no matter what the cause was, let's think about the preparedness implications. Now, I tell you what, it's one of the reasons that I have never suggested using an island for a getaway. Okay, unless you've got a boat. We'll get back to that in a second. I've never cared about using an island as a getaway. If you do that, you should certainly have a boat, and that's one of my questions. Did this thing flash so quickly that people didn't have time to get away? Did they not have boats? If you live on an island, I don't understand not having a boat, especially if you live right there. And I'll have people that say, well, it's expensive and it's this and it's that. Well, okay, how much is your survival worth? It comes down to that. How much is your survival? There is no way in a world I would live on an island, especially if I lived on the coast of the island, and not have a boat. Why? Because that's your bug out vehicle, right? There's no way that I would live anywhere on land without a vehicle to take myself to a place of safety, right? Would you? I don't think so. So it's kind of one of those things that I have never really thought much about islands as being a bug out look, a place of safety, because even if you get off of there, or maybe I should wait for a minute. Okay, I will wait for a minute. Same reason that I've never looked at, around in Kansas here, we have these big salt mines out west. And a lot of people, or a lot of people have retrofitted all the missile silos and everything, Well, in addition to those places being full of carcinogens, not the salt mines, but the missile silos, one way in, one way out. They access those salt mines with an elevator, and I mean, if you've ever taken a tour of those salt mines, yeah, it will withstand a nuclear attack. Nobody will be able to get in at you. But if you've ever taken a tour of one of those things, that elevator goes down forever. And I tell you what, without electricity working, you're never getting back out. And I don't care to live the rest of my life in a hole, in the dark after a while until finally my food runs out. And I'll stock a lot of food. Okay, you're gonna stock 60 years of food for all the people that are down there? No, you're not. Caves are different. Caves with multiple entrances. Someday I'll do one on that. Back to the situation with Maui. Most of the people probably died because they waited too long to get out. And I understand what a flash fire can do. I understand that completely. But many of them probably did. A lot of them jumped in the ocean, right? We hear that. People were, and I don't know if this is true or not. I know this is what the media reports. So who knows if it's true? If the media reports it, chances are it's not true. But let's say that it is. Let's say that that it's true that people had jumped in the ocean and were swimming among dead bodies. Okay, that sounds like the kind of thing the media would say, or the government would say, to cause the emotions to run high in people and say how terrible it is. And now there are going to be great efforts on the parts of FEMA and other government agencies and other NGOs to rebuild Maui. I'm going to put a couple of things up. I think I'll put them on the Patreon channel. I hope they don't get yanked down. Not sure if they will or not, because we're still, and I don't want to jeopardize the channels. But some very, very interesting thoughts by people concerning this. Why was it? And this goes into, was it purposely destroyed? Was it purposely destroyed? And I'll just put this out there. In order to pave the way to rebuild a smart city, a 15-minute city, what I call a slave city, because you get everybody. And I'll tell you what, the idea of a 15-minute city, it's, aspects of it are good. I know a lot of people out there, no, it's not. I can't believe you said that. You know what a 15-minute city is, the good part? It's a small town. Okay, it's a small town. Or it is a neighborhood like we have in the cities and suburbs. When I was younger, through Kansas City and through every city, it doesn't matter, Chicago, Atlanta, New York, whatever, there were neighborhoods. And within those neighborhoods, you had pretty much everything you needed. You had grocery stores, you had pharmacies, you had clothing stores, you had bakeries, you had filling stations, you had restaurants, you had everything. Very few people had to go outside their neighborhood, and this was like on corners, on corners of blocks. You would have a block of buildings on each corner, and that was kind of its own little village. It was cool. It was great. I loved it. I would love, and they were all over the place. We had a couple of these little villages close to where I lived. And, I was talking to Kelly about this just last night, and she says, yeah. I says, we essentially have it right around our house. I mean, there is nothing that we need that we can't get to in 3 to 5 minutes in a car. And, 15, 20 minutes walking if we had to. She says, yeah. She says, I don't think I've traveled much more than a mile away from our home, or she occasionally does, because we have to go to things, obviously. But she said, I hardly ever go more than a mile from our home. That's exactly right. Well, okay. These are, our neighborhoods are essentially 15-minute cities, okay? In my case, hospitals, doctor's offices, dentists, everything in the world. So you see, that aspect of the 15-minute city is not bad. What makes it bad is how it's being done. It's digitally, to where you will be controlled, digital and surveillance and control. That makes it what I call a slave city. Okay. I've gotten a little bit of a feel of where I meant to go with this, but it goes into it. And I'm going to talk more about this probably on another one. But is that why this happened in Maui? Could that have been of why? Maybe. I mean, I think that it's a definite possibility. Because how often do these things happen? Why was it able to leap that far, that fast? And on the Patreon channel, I will put up a couple of links to a couple of videos by other people who talk about things that I think you all might want to know. But when it comes back, let's get back for just a moment while we close this out to the preparedness aspect. You ought to be prepared to escape anything at any time in any direction. And that's where this comes in. I can't imagine living at the lake without having a boat. Okay? What if something like this happened? Have you spent much time in lake communities? Many of them are built on tiers. Okay? If you are, and pretty much, I'll give you a hint right here. If you're looking for lake property, get something with waterfront. Okay? Because that provides your double safety. First off, it takes you down from the top of the hill. The hills kind of protect you from the surrounding areas, okay? It gets you away from the top of the hill. If something bad's coming over the hill, you have a lot of people for them to go through before they get to you. But secondly, also, if there are fires in some of these lake communities, I'll tell you, they could go up like this. Not just because the houses and buildings are so close together in many cases, but they're built on hills, right? And if something started down here, it wouldn't take much at all to go right up the hill. That's why you want to be on the water. Just my little advice on buying real estate. So I can imagine living on a lake and not having a boat, because what if that happened? You just going to stay there? You can't, these are the things that people have to think about. If something catches fire and it starts spreading the tier or 2 tiers above you, and it's going, well, it's eventually going to come down to you. Not as fast as it's going up, but it's going to come down to you. You just want to wait there and jump out into the lake. How long, as Bill Cosby said in his old comedy sketch, how long can you tread water? That's why you have a boat. Get on the boat, put your stuff on the boat, grab your bags, put all the other stuff on the boat that you need to live for a couple of days. And this is why I like pontoon boats better than I like, speed boats. I'm more in for the, and you can pull a skier with a good pontoon boat. Put them on there, get out in the middle of the lake, pray for the people who weren't able to get away, but you're safe. Preparedness is about thinking about all possible eventualities. Not all probable eventualities, although that's where it starts, but all possible eventualities. And then when you think you've covered all of the possible eventualities, now try to start thinking about the things that you don't think are possible, because you might have limited it yourself by your lack of imagination, right? I don't mean you, I mean everybody. So the lesson of Maui is that unimaginable things can happen. And a person who is not prepared for every imaginable eventuality is really not totally prepared. And I talk about total preparedness. It takes more energy, it takes more money, it takes more time, it takes more imagination than basic preparedness. I understand that. But why would you not? When you go to buy your homeowner's insurance, and the agent says, okay, here's how much it's going to cost for the dwelling. If your house burns down, we're going to pay for it to be rebuilt. We're also going to add for the contents. Do you not buy insurance to cover the contents? A lot of us have as much value in the contents, if not more, than in the structure itself. And I know a lot of people, try to get by on the cheap and say, no, I don't need that. It's all right. Or maybe they don't have it. I don't know. It's different for everybody. But when you're looking at insurance, it's kind of like the people that only carry liability, right? Only carry liability insurance because they want to save money, and they'll say, well, if I get a dent in my truck, I don't care. I'll just drive it with a dent, and that's fine. I mean, I've driven trucks with dents in them before. I'm not putting a dent, but I'm saying if you really want to completely cover assets, which your life is an asset, you have to be prepared for everything. So I think that's the lesson of Maui. The lesson of Maui is that things can happen, as I said before, anywhere, anytime, to anyone, for reasons that we don't particularly know and may never know, and that the depth of the threat is often more than we could have imagined. That's why we have to prepare for everything. So take a look at this. Let this be a lesson to you. Let this be an exercise. You can start with, what if I lived on Maui, right? Why did the people who died, why did they die? And then bring it home to you, you know, wherever you live. What could happen? What could happen? If, you know, here in Kansas, we have tornadoes. We think about what to do in the case of a tornado, right? You think that the people down in Florida and the Gulf don't think about what to do in cases of hurricanes? The smart ones get out in time, right? They get out in time with everything they need. The ones who didn't are waiting around in the middle of destruction, waiting for the government to come bring them water, which often doesn't come. So prepare for your Maui or whatever it is that may come your way. And remember that total preparedness, it's a step up from the basic. And then remember also, like we always say, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. So I hope you all are preparing well. Now I'm going to get off of here and I'm going to go and record, is it part 12? I think it's part 12. Part 12 or part 13. It's going to be the 11th chapter of the reversion. By the way, I probably didn't say, you can get these either on Amazon, or the best way to get them is directly from me on our website, stonemont.us. And there I get to autograph them for you. So I'll be going in and recording the next part of the reversion when I get done here. So you all have a good day. Remember to join us over on the Patreon channel if you'd like, if you want more stuff. And I will be putting those links on this one over there. And join us if you're a real Stonemonter. Join us on the Stonemont channel. I won't necessarily be putting a lot of content on the YouTube channel. And if you're already following the book on the Patreon channel of this, Integrative Preparedness, you know, it's up to you whether or not you also want to join that, where I'll be talking more about characters and answering questions. I'm really looking forward to getting into discussions with the readers of it. I've been looking forward to it for a while, so I'm glad that I've gotten to that point. So join us over there if you would like. You all have a good day. It's a beautiful day here. I hope it's beautiful where you are. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.